And the price point can make a difference. Well, it depends on the artist. Some people, they price it to the amount of materials, the cost of materials. Some people will price it a little higher because of how much work goes into them. Like it's a lot of work, layers, time. It takes a lot of your time as well. It's not just like, hey, I'm just gonna let it sit there and in 30 minutes I'm done. It's a project. It's a device that is created with time and, let's say, expertise or well-based knowledge, put it that way, because we're always learning, so we can't be 100% experts on anything really, if you think about it. But I do see on the market, when you go on Etsy and you put Orgonite pyramids or Orgonite in general, 80% of the market is all those nice $20 range, or even $100 or even more range of like the artistic Orgonite or the DOR Orgonite generating generating DOR Orgonites that they put out there. I might have seen 20% that look genuine to a non-expert eye, but I'm not a newbie, put it that way. That kind of looks more genuine than the piece next to it, right? So it's kind of sad that I think they're just taking advantage of the hype of Orgonites, because there is a bit of a hype behind it, and because they're actually really functional and they really do have positive effects. And I guess, yeah, they're taking advantage of people, which I wish they didn't do. So that's our job, to try to mitigate that the best way we can with the right information and giving people the right options and the best places to go to, that people who genuinely want to help others with this kind of endeavor, or creating them, or just acquiring them in general, or learning more about them and how they can impact your life and your health and those around you, right?
Definitely.
So one thing I also wanted to see, because there's fake Orgonite or artistic Orgonite, DOR Orgonite, and then there's the real stuff that creates positive Orgone energy, life force energy, if you want to call it that way as well. How would you prove that they work? Like compared to a fake one, artistic one, they look nice, compared to one that's actually, even like functional ones can look nice too, but it's just, that they work, right? So how would you do that?
Sure, yeah, there's actually multiple ways. I like to focus on the very first thing is the materials. So visually, you're going to know if it works or not if it's built with a 1-to-1 iron and quartz ratio. So that's what actually creates Orgone energy. The man who trademarked the term Orgonite, who created the term Orgonite, I believe in the 80s or 90s, he used basically a 1-to-1 iron and quartz ratio that was based off of Wilhelm Reich's 1-to-1 ratio of different materials. And so when you have these specific materials, you know that it's going to work right, just because it's based off of people who have extensive research of it working correctly. So if you follow that, you're more it's safer to say that yes, it's working right. And that's like the first thing you can notice. And that's called radiation absorbent material, RAM. And I've made a couple of videos about this, which is iron and quartz. And after Wilhelm Reich, which is the original guy who, brought a lot of this technology into the modern world in like the 30s and 40s, they took his technology, the US military, and they developed what's called RAM, radiation absorbent material, and they actually used it in all sorts of things. And they actually discovered that a pyramid shape built with RAM, radiation absorbent material, which is iron and quartz, is the most effective shape in transmuting radiation. And this is coming from the US military. Like some of the most advanced engineers in the world say this. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. So that's the first way. That's the first thing I'm always going to look for in a pyramid, is their iron and quartz in perfect ratio. Is that are using iron and quartz together as much as possible and as evenly as possible. Then you have a much better chance of it working. And then the next things you can do a voltage test with either this thing called the life stream generator, or you can use a violet ray wand, which is a much cheaper alternative, or you can use these things called plasma guns. It's basically like a mini gun that shoots like a lightning bolt, and it'll attach to anything that's super conductive. So that's one way you can visually see the conductivity of a properly made pyramid. I have a couple of videos on that too. And I'm going to be uploading them to YouTube and Instagram and stuff. But there's a couple already up there. I'm working on some more extensive ones. That's the second way. And then there is the knife test, which can sometimes work with an improperly made pyramid, because deadly orgone energy does have healing components, and the reason why some people feel the pyramids made the wrong way is because deadly orgone energy is really good for you in small doses. So they might feel that for the first week or the first couple days, and then it'll kind of fizzle out. That's usually what happens, and then it could backfire and actually start producing more that's not good. Because if you stay in that deadly orgone energy field, you're going to start having health issues over time, which I experienced because when I first started building pyramids, I definitely wasn't doing it right. It took me a long time to really understand this stuff, and a lot of like really like epic fails. But then I learned from experience. A couple other good ways are a water test, which again can sometimes work with an improperly made pyramid, where you freeze a glass of water directly over the pyramid, and that basically forms like a toroid shape in the inside of the water. Filtered water you get better test results with. If anyone watching wants to try it, I would definitely use like filtered water or distilled water or spring water. Um, let's see here. And then a pendulum is also a great way to test if it works. The Kirlian photography, as we had mentioned earlier. Let's see here. There's a couple ones I'm still missing. A more advanced test is called an Ormus test. You can hang a gold coin, like a pure gold coin, excuse me, a pure gold coin about 3 inches above the pyramid, so about right here, and you hang it, and it'll actually form a white salt on the coin. So a pyramid can actually create Ormus and monatomic elements out of thin air, which is pretty cool. And that's also what I believe the Great Pyramids were used for. And then they would give people these elements to like alter their consciousness and things like that. It's really beyond me what they did, but I know that that happened.
Yeah,
And
that
those
would
are a
be
few
kind of
ways.
cool. Can you imagine just like, because we are technically our soils, a lot of the soils, depending where you're buying your food from, a lot of the soils are depleted because of monoculture and how they destroy the land and all these chemicals and artificial. And you get where I'm going at with that, that we're deficient in some minerals or some metals and even vitamins. And so basically gold, which is highly conductive, if we had higher gold in our body, higher silver, you have to be careful with that. Well, just in general, in moderation, everything in moderation. But copper is also good conductive and healing metal. But gold is one of the things that is pretty interesting. If we had a higher amount of gold in the form of ormus being intaken by the people of that time, I can't even imagine their kind of frequency, their kind of conductivity in their body, how it flows much better in general. And they heal quicker because there's more flow, there's less blockages, it's much quicker, and things of this nature. And having a pyramid that big, again, it's going to affect a much wider range of people at the same time. So that's actually pretty cool to actually be able to have that technology available still in a way freely to the public, thanks to people like you and people that do this as well, other people as well who do this, and thanks to Wilhelm Reich and the OGs, put it that way. And I hope that we get to see more of this, and you're definitely working on that, so we're going to spread that information.